Hi everyone, welcome back to your channel Lawpedia. So today we'll be discussing about abetment, which is stated in your sections 107 to 120 of Indian Penal Code 1860. So basically I have divided the abetment topic of your Indian Penal Code into two parts. So इस वीडियो में you'll be getting sections 107 and 108, which are the primary sections or the definition sections. In the next video, we'll be looking forward to the other sections which prescribe the suitable punishment for abetment. So now, while you're reading the topic abetment, you must be aware about that it has been stated in chapter 5 of your Indian Penal Code. So the first and the very important section which you must read is section 107, which basically defines what is abetment of a thing. And the section broadly has been divided into three components. If you read the bare act, you'll understand firstly, secondly, and thirdly. Before moving forward in understanding the section itself, we must understand, if we are talking about abetment, what is abet? Abet is basically to assist, advance, aid, help, or promote. So, liability under chapter 5 for abetment is based on the principle that many crimes in the country would be impossible without the support and encouragement received from others. Now let's move forward. Section 107 basically states that a person abets the doing of a thing who firstly instigates any person to do that thing. So what do you understand by the term instigation? Instigation is basically when you bring about through persuasion for a person to do a thing. And you will be surprised to know that instigation has been one of the essential ingredients in cases involving death of young brides. Now the next component is engages with one or more person in any conspiracy. This particular point basically means a person abets the doing of a thing when he or she engages with one or more other person or persons in any conspiracy for the doing of that thing. So while you're reading the second component of the definition, please remember it broadly includes three basic ingredients further. That is, firstly, the abettor has engaged with one or more person in a conspiracy. Secondly, the conspiracy was for doing of a thing abetted. And thirdly, an act or illegal omission has taken place in persons of that conspiracy. So these are the three basic components. However, please remember that conspiracy and abetment of conspiracy are two different offenses. So when I'm talking about abetment by conspiracy, I'm referring to section 107, and when I'm talking about conspiracy, I'm referring to section 120A. Now, the third component of the definition states that intentionally aids by any act or illegal omission the doing of that thing. So basically, when a person directly assists in the crime or directly helps out in that particular act by the actively doing of a particular thing, by actively doing of the act, maybe in terms of facilitating the commission of crime or illegally omitting to do a particular thing, that will also come under abetment of a thing as per section 107. Also, please remember that the section 107 has further two explanations provided, whereby explanation 1 basically defines what do you mean by instigation of a particular act, or what will we consider when we are talking about how does one person instigate an act. The example provided is, suppose A, a public officer, is authorized by warrant from the Court of Justice to apprehend Z. Okay, and B, knowing the fact and also that C is not Z, willfully represents to the police officer that C is Z, and thereby intentionally causes A to apprehend C. B commits an offense of abetment by instigation. The explanation 2 basically talks about how does a person aids or helps in the commission of an act. So I hope you understand the three factors. Abetment may be by instigation, conspiracy, or intentional aid, as provided by section 107. Now the next component is abetment and knowledge of the offense. What do we need to know over here? So firstly, please be aware, if a person who lends the support does not know the act, that which he is aiding is itself a criminal nature, he cannot be said to be an abettor. So basically what I am saying over here is, when we are considering that abetment has been committed or not, we need to firstly prove that the person was aware about the act, and secondly, he was also aware about the criminal implications of the act. However, in cases of offences where the statute itself provides that no mens rea is required, how can you expect an abettor to have a mens rea for that? That means I'm referring to the cases whereby you have strict liability as per your Indian Penal Code, and mens rea is not required for proving abetment in such cases, because if the offense itself is free from proving mens rea, how can the abetment of the same require a mens rea or a guilty intention? Now let's move to the abetment and conspiracy. Basically, what do you understand by conspiracy? In case of abetment is when abettor engages with one or more persons in a conspiracy or in a concerted plan to assist in the commission of that particular act. So conspiracy must be for the doing of the thing abetted, and an act or illegal omission has taken place in pursuance of the conspiracy. So both these factors must be there. Firstly, that the abettor is engaged with one or more person. Secondly, the conspiracy was for doing of the thing abetted, and thirdly, an act or an illegal omission has taken place in pursuance of the conspiracy. So these are the three broad ingredients when you're trying to prove abetment by conspiracy. Now, another very interesting question is, what happens when the substantive offense fails? So, various rulings of the Supreme Court have held that when a substantive offense is not established and the principal offender is acquitted, then generally the abettor cannot be held guilty. There's one particular case I have stated, Haradan Chakrabarti versus Union of India. So in this case, court stated, unless the substantive offense against the principal offender is established, the question of the abettor being guilty does not arise. However, this is not a strict position. It may change depending upon the case law itself. So after understanding section 107, let's move forward and understand section 108, which defines who is an abettor. So when you read section 108, it basically states that a person is an abettor who abets the commission of an offense or the commission of an act which would be an offense if committed by a person capable of committing an offense in law. So in this you have two components. A person will be an abettor who himself abets the commission of an offense, or secondly, who abets the commission of an act which will be an offense if committed by a person capable in law committing the same. So the essential definition of abettor will be absolutely clear to you when we'll understand what are the 5 explanations which have essentially expanded the definition under section 108. So now let's move forward and quickly understand each of the explanations given below. Explanation 1 to section 108 basically states that abetment of illegal omission is an offense. That means the abetment of the illegal omission of the act may amount to an offense, although the abettor may not himself be bound to do that act. Let's say a private person P instigates a police officer Q to leave the scene of cognizable offense, which is his duty to prevent, and he cannot leave that particular crime scene. And here the policeman is guilty of illegal omission and the private person is guilty of abetting the police officer. Okay, so the explanation 2 talks about the abetted act need not be committed. This means that offense is complete with the instigation itself and the act itself need not be committed. Let's say a person instigates B to murder C and B refuses that no, I can't do so. A is still guilty of abetting B to commit the murder. Explanation 3 talks about the person abetted need not be capable of committing an offense. That means if a person is employing an innocent agent such as child or any other incapable person, the person will still be liable as a abettor. So यहाँ पे the law is basically stating that the person that you're using as an innocent agent need not necessarily have two things. Firstly, guilty mind, and secondly, he or she can be incapable of committing a criminal act. So I hope you're clear with the first three explanations. Let's move forward. Now, the fourth explanation talks about abetment of an abetment is an offense. So, best thing, understand it with the help of an example. But let's say A instigates B to instigate C to murder Z. B accordingly instigates C to murder Z, and C commits that offense in the consequence of B's instigation. Now, B will be liable to be punished for his offense with the punishment for murder, and as A instigated B to commit that offense, A will also be liable to the same punishment. Moving forward to your last explanation, abettor need not concert abetment by conspiracy. And the basic gist of explanation 5 is, in case of a conspiracy, it is not necessary that all the conspirators should be aware of the details of the plot to make them liable. One last section which we need to understand, which is your section 108A, which was added in the Indian Penal Code to overrule the decision of Bombay High Court in case of Empress versus Ganapat Rao Ramachandran, in which it was held that abetment in India by an Indian citizen of an offense committed in a foreign country was not punishable. So, in order to cope up with the situation created by this case, there was an amendment made in the Indian Penal Code, and accordingly, Section 108A was added in the year 1898. इसका एक एग्जाम्पल देख लेते हैं. Let's say A in India instigates B. A instigate करता है B को, a foreigner in Goa, to commit a murder in Goa. So A will be guilty of abetting that particular murder. And that's it for today's video. I would request you to please like, share and subscribe. And if you have any doubts pertaining to section 107 and 8, please do write them in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for the second part of this particular video, which will be the punishments for abetment as a crime. And please subscribe, like and share. Thank you so much for watching. Till then, stay home, stay safe and keep learning.